They came around to the cellar door and saw that it was locked. They looked at each other and then at the door where a Yale lock of burnished brass threaded the ring and bound the hasp. Thane reached for the lock and yanked. The golden seal did not yield. The door was closed, the house locked, and night was coming on. They stood back and looked at the house, gray, imposing, monumental. Their comfortable basement of lockers and tools was so far away. Even their musty beds under the cold roof were unattainable. "What are we going to do?" asked Yardena. "Where are we going to eat?" said Thane. They looked around. "The trailer," said Barengaria. They turned away from the house that contained everything warm and comfortable in their lives. The trailer had always been a place to play or a place to hide among the dust, spiders, field mice, and mold. The thought of it now as a place to live, or even spend a night, was as revolting as if they had to live in a barn or a doghouse. And not just for a day or a night. Thanksgiving weekend stretched endlessly before them. But there was nowhere else in the world for them to go. Thane pulled. The door screeched. Birds flew to the sky. Barengaria disappeared into the dark interior. Yardena followed up behind her, the first step much too high for her. But book bag swinging, she pulled herself up, and then she was gone. Thane looked about, and he too stepped up into the trailer. "Look what he's done," said Barengaria. She pointed at the wood stacked within. The floor of the narrow passageways and the space beneath the pull-down bunks were clear, but most other surfaces and areas, the sink, the stove, the shower, the storage, were stacked with stove-length cuts of wood. "Why does he do this?" "To keep the wood dry for the winter. He's never done this before." "He's never killed anyone before either." "As far as we know," added Yardena. There wasn't much room in the trailer, diminished as it was by the wood, and their book bags were awkwardly large for the constricted space. So they stacked them in the stairwell by the door they left open to dissipate the smell. Barengaria sat on the bench that unfolded to a bed in the back. Thane and Yardena lifted the table out of its slot against the wall and set it in front of Barengaria. It would serve, when night fell, as a brace for one end of the narrow cots that pulled down on the right and the left. The foam rubber mattress smelled of stale urine. Thane and Yardena sat on pulled-down stool tops attached to the wall beside the small sink on the right and the small stove on the left. They reached across the table to hold hands briefly with Barengaria before she started her history. From outside, it seemed that the trailer moaned. The low, even keening of their voices as they defined their past echoed the whispering of the wind as the light began to fail. Yardena had just begun to speak when the door slammed shut. Before they could move, they heard two knocks as a wooden wedge was driven between the door and the frame. They scrambled to it quickly through the dusky interior. Thane knocked Yardena down as he thrust past her to reach the door. It was jammed from the outside. "I'm sorry, Yardena. Are you all right?" "Yes." "Did I hurt you?" "It's okay. I'm fine." "Are you cut?" "No. It's just a scrape. I'm fine, really." "I'm sorry." Barengaria, trapped behind the table, finally joined them. "Now what?" she said. "The door's jammed." "We're locked in," said Yardena. "What's going on?" said Thane. "There he is," said Barengaria. She could see over the logs stacked atop the stove and out the small window behind it that looked toward the front of the house. They saw him walking away, rake over his shoulder, and they heard him singing.